What's up, you guys? It's 2Bricks, and today I wanted to do a little bit of an update, or I guess a follow-up to my Stinger Mantis video series, I guess that it is, because I had a couple of updates on that. That was something that I felt that was lacking a little bit, which was the crew. Pretty happy with the ship overall, and apparently you guys are as well. I really thank you for your support as far as that is concerned. This has been one of my most popular MOCs, and I really appreciate it. One quick note about that, though. It's been very popular amongst people who like to take other people's designs and then sell the instructions as if they are their own. This is companies I'm talking about, not individuals, as far as I've seen. So do be aware of that, and if you do see any of that kind of shady business going on, please do boycott those things and don't help to support basically just the theft of people's time and creativity, in a way that is not cool and definitely not with permission. So just a quick note on that. But yes, today's video is about the crew, which is something that I wasn't entirely happy with in my previous run, and I found better ways to represent all of the different parts of the crew that I previously felt weren't exactly living up to what I would want to see for a ship of this caliber. And so I've gone ahead and updated the crew and given you guys a little bit of a better representation, and I've included as well here the second sister, the main antagonist of the game. And so we're going to take a look at each of these. I'll give you some insights into which figures I robbed from to be able to create these, and some of the special techniques I use, like there's a brick-built head on the second sister over here, and there's brick-built arms here, and brick-built BB-8, and etc., etc. So we'll take a look at all that, and you guys can get some more inspiration for how to make these specific figures if you want them. So yeah, without further ado, let's dive in and take a look. So first up, I'll give you a look at the new and improved Cal Kestis and BD-1. BD-1 is unchanged from the previous design. He still relies on just a single clip piece, and you swivel his head around to face forward so he has his little legs when he's off exploring the world. I really like the scale of this. I think it fits really well with Cal, and I think the ability for him to clip onto a little bar piece on the back of Cal and just kind of ride around on his shoulders like that is really cool. So there's nothing that I really wanted to change about that. The way that he is attached is unchanged as well. And as far as Cal, I'm using a Han Solo head and I believe this is taken off of a Weasley twin. I'll put the exact figure that this is from for the red version of the Han Solo hair there. He has one glove because he wears a single glove typically, and then the single ungloved hand with his black lightsaber hilt, which is the kind of default one for the game. And inside of the Stinger Mantis, I actually included a single blue lightsaber blade, which was meant to kind of activate Cal's double lightsaber once you unlock that in the game. So that was just a little fun Easter egg that I included for that. So Cal also does have the wide array of ponchos in the game, and so I have the Luke Skywalker poncho from the most recent Land Speeder set, and I'll include a link to that as well, so you can see which figure that is, or at least name it somewhere here on the screen. But then, yeah, so for the torso, I was previously using just a kind of nondescript Star Warsy, I think it was like a Han Solo Echo Base torso, which I didn't really love. I kept that covered up most of the time. But now we have this cool, from the Mandalorian Battle Pack. It was this Mandalorian that I took the torso from, and I just plugged in those arms and into that torso, and it works really well because it gives you the kind of chest armor plating, very similar to what Cal has in the game. So that way you can have, the poncho on or off, and you can just lift it up and see the design underneath if you want. And for those who are wondering, this is what Cal looks like when he's wearing his poncho. So there you go. Nice and nondescript. So this is Cere, and she remains unchanged from her previous iteration. I was really happy with how this figure turned out, but I'll give you a little bit of insight into where I nabbed some of these parts from. So I'm using the hair from an episode 9 Finn, and this hairpiece has also been used now for Lando, for an updated version of Lando, and I think in some other sets as well. So it's becoming more common. It's a really nice hairpiece. I just like the look of it a lot, and it was just perfect for Cere, so that was great. And then also for her face, we have Val from Han Solo. Her head is obviously missing because it's on Cere right now, but she was also rocking this awesome afro piece, which I really like. But yeah, that's been added on there now. And then we have the torso from a I believe it's a third year Harry Potter, just because I wanted the open kind of blue vest with the jacket look, which Cere has in the game. And so I just popped these gray arms onto here and took the hands that match the facial color from a different figure. I'm not exactly sure who I nabbed that from. Possibly, I think it was another Harry Potter figure. There's a couple of characters with the, I think it's medium nougat colored, yeah, face and skin. So I think that's where I got that from. So that's Cere, and she comes with a blaster, so you can reenact that scene from the opening of the game where she's shooting at the second sister, but now we have a second sister figure, so you can actually have her shooting at someone. So there you go, there is Cere. Next up we have who I think deserves the most improved award. This is Greez. He's the ship's pilot, owner, and captain, and also chef from time to time, and a botanist in his spare time. He loves tinkering around with plants. Previous versions that I had of Greez, I was not able to figure out a good way to get his arms to be on there and have a four-armed kind of look for him. And I recently picked up a Marvel set that had, I believe it was the character of Carnage, that came with this cool like extension piece at the back here that allows you to attach 4 different tentacles and things on there. It's been used in other sets, but I just happened to get it in that one. And that just gave me the opportunity to clip in these red bar holder pieces and then use these new kind of plant end stalk pieces here that came with the sets for Raya and the Last Dragon. They were used as like tufts of hair for the ongis, the little monkeys in that universe. And those just worked perfectly as little kind of splayed hands with 3 fingers. I think they look so funny, like he's just reaching for something like the control sticks or something. And yeah, so I just love the look of that, and I think it works really well for Greez. So I switched over to, because of that, I switched over to a tan color for his skin tone, which I actually think works better with what we see in the final game. In the concept art, he looks much more gray, but I think in the game he looks a little closer to a tan slash, human skin color. And then I'm using the head from Davy Jones, because that was a convenient tan colored kind of alien looking head, and I actually think I like that a lot better than the one I had on there before, which is gray, which is off of the Pow figure from Rogue One. So yeah, I really like that, and then I think now it has a little bit of extra contrast with the hair. I still would love to see some beard coming around the side of there, but I think this is a lot closer to what it was before. As before, I'm using the torso from this Naboo pilot. I happen to have 2 of those, so I can show them to you side by side. And then I'm using the short legs from one of the new Harry Potter teenaged figures, where it's the posable but still shorter than regular length legs. So I think that looks really great, and I'm really happy with how this figure turned out. I'm actually happy to put him in the cockpit of my Stinger Mantis now, so, whereas before I was a little bit embarrassed to have him in there. So yeah, I think this guy turned out great now, and this is my new and improved Greez. And of course, the only way that it could get better is if LEGO was to actually produce some Fallen Order sets. Hello LEGO, if you're listening, we would love some of those, please, and give us some official figures and maybe a cool head mold for Greez there. That'd be awesome. But yeah, that's him for now, and there you go. Next up we have Merrin, the Night Sister, and she's still sporting her green magic orbs here that is kind of supposed to show off her Night Sister magic. I just changed the way that they're attached now, using these clear handle pieces to have the magic spells look like they're facing forward, so kind of Doctor Strange style, with the discs out in front of the character's hands. So I like that. Previously I just attached the studs onto the hands and it wasn't as cool. I'm still using the Zori Bliss torso here, and I gave her a red cape, which is double-sided. It's dark red on the inside, which is off of one of the Senate guards from various sets throughout the years. They have a really nice dual colored cape there, which I think works really well for Merrin. This is her in her kind of before she chills out mode, and I actually got this dark red hood. I previously had a brown one on here, and then I realized that I had a dark red one that comes with this Sith warrior figure, whose name I will put up on the screen and where you can find him at. So he was sporting that red hood on top of his cool armor look, so that was kind of a nice look there, and I just decided to add that on because this is much more accurate in terms of color. I was also toying around with a different hood, which was taken off of a Miles Morales Spider-Man figure, but I just felt like this looked a little bit too modern and a little bit too kind of realistic. And I like the classic Star Wars kind of robe hood better because, and it, especially for Merrin, it really looks like how she did in the start of the game. The hood sits really low on her face and has all these ruffles at the bottom, so I think this is a good look for her. But yeah, still, that Zorii Bliss torso is a perfect match for Merrin, and I just added the gray legs off of a different figure. They're just standard dark gray legs, so nice and easy on that. And then when she kind of chills out a little bit and joins the team, she pulls her hood back, and I still have this hairpiece. I still don't love this hairpiece, but on this new head, I switched to a Asajj Ventress head, which was from this figure. And this one worked out a lot better than the previous head I had on there, which was from an Aurra Sing. And I liked that Aurra Sing face because it had more of a smile to it, and I like when Merrin becomes more friendly and smiley, I love that turn for her character, so I wanted to represent that. But this more frowny face works too. She could be more kind of sarcastic, and I think it looks a lot better with this hairpiece too. So the eyes and everything fit a lot better in there. So yeah, there is Merrin. I really like, I would consider this to be her default look for myself personally. I think that looks really good, and I think the cape really helps her too, and makes her look a little bit more epic and a little bit more like a cool badass Night Sister. So there she is. So next up we have the second sister, who is of course the primary antagonist for the game, and she is sporting a classic, the lightsaber piece belonging to the Inquisitors. I took this one off of the Grand Inquisitor himself. Thanks for the donation, buddy. And so she's got the double red lightsabers that can be helicoptered, which is something people have made a lot of fun of in Star Wars, that they have these helicoptering lightsaber blades that can just fly the characters around, which is admittedly a little bit silly, but it looked fine within the cartoony world of Rebels. I'm glad they didn't do it in Fallen Order. That would have been a bit weird. But she has a really unique helmet, which I was not able to replicate to my satisfaction, but I got as close as I could. And what I'm using is one of these kind of Imperial standard kind of helmets for the low-level sort of officer types. And I'm using one of these hooked plates here with the tooth coming off of it in black, and then a red stud to represent her visor, and then that just fits over the top, and it gives it a pretty good look. It's not exactly what you'd want to see, but I think it's as close as I can possibly get at the moment without with what I have access to and what I can kind of think about. Her torso is a very simple, I believe it is a First Order officer's torso, or First Order trooper of some kind. And then there are two capes on the back to represent the fact that her cape is black on the outside and dark red on the inside. And once again, I'm using one of those. This is the more papery kind, whereas for Merrin, she had the cloth kind that's more spongy. And this one is the more papery kind, but it's from the same figure, which is the Imperial Guard, so it has red, like bright red on the inside, which I think actually gives it a really cool look when the cape is down. It's kind of like got this like bright red trim around it. I think it looks actually kind of rad. So yeah, there she is. And then obviously she's not actually sporting a proper minifig head right now. And spoiler alert, later on in the game we do get to see her face. And so she has a very kind of sad backstory. So I decided to give her this sad Cho Chang face and the hair that is taken off of my Cara Dune figure, and this just kind of captures her her tragic, the conclusion of her story is pretty tragic, and I think this face matches that pretty well, and the hair as well I think really sells that. So yeah, this is a character I did not have represented in any way before because she's not part of the crew of the Mantis, but I thought this would be a nice challenge to try to represent. So I really like the way that the helmet goes with everything, even though it's it's not exactly official, and this piece just slips on here. But I think that it does a decent job. Even if it's not perfectly accurate, I think it's still imposing in its own way, and I quite like it. So there is the second sister / Trilla, and I guess you could consider this to be like her alternate costume here in the background of her sadly decapitated head. Look at that. Yeah, so there is Trilla. Alright, you guys, and for the outro here, the end of the video, I just decided to go ahead and place everybody in and around the ship. And of course, we have Second Sister here trying to get in and get everybody. Cal and BD deciding what planet to go to. Merrin trying to give them some advice. And then we have Greez looking on disapprovingly, and Cere in the back just observing, and she's got a little smirk going on there. So everybody looks right at home on the ship, and I'm really happy with how all of that looks. The only thing is, there's a little bit of a caveat, is if I want to put Greez up in the cockpit here as before, he can't really support his forearms in the space that's available. So you do have to go ahead and just take this bracket off with the additional arm pieces. And he does have to go back to being a sad two-armed creature, which, you know, you can't have everything. So, but I think that him just hanging around in the ship, we see him in plenty of other locations around the game that is not just in the cockpit, so I think that's forgivable. But yeah, so that's going to do it for the video, you guys. Hopefully you enjoyed taking a look at my updated crew. Hopefully that you, if you do want to build any of these figures for yourself and you get a kick out of how these turned out, this was a little bit helpful for you to be able to see how and where to get them. And if you guys want to get the instructions for this Stinger Mantis, of course, those are available now. You can check out my Rebrickable. I'll leave a link in the description. And yeah, thank you guys again so much for the support. I wanted to do this as a little follow-up because quite a few people had asked me about the crew members and how to get them, and I felt kind of weird about it because I didn't really love the way that they looked, so I was just like, well, I don't want to give people recommendations of what to buy with their money that I personally think is not up to scratch. So at least I feel a little better about it now. I think the crew mostly looks pretty rad in their current form. So yeah, I'm not really sure how reliable Bricklink is for being able to purchase just individual, like, specific parts. Like, could you just get the gray leg pieces only for Merrin, or do you have to buy a whole, like, gray figure? I'm not really sure, but I guess that's something you guys can investigate. I don't know. So yeah, let me know how it goes, and if any of you guys do end up assembling any of these, and if you did like them, leave me a comment and let me know what you think. I always read your comments, even if I don't get to respond to every single one. I do love to read them. So, all right, guys, that's going to do it for me. Thank you again so much for watching. I'll see you on the next video, and may the Force be with you.